Jamie. We'll just use Jamie. We've had a wonderful meeting this morning. You joined me on my live call on TikTok, and just wow. I just got so much information. And what we're talking about, so you guys don't, we're talking about David Strait, of course. And the more that I keep pumping this machine, the more people keep coming out of the woodwork. And I think it's really important that we expose this kind of terrorism, because that's exactly what this is. This is terrorism. It truly is. If you want to get on a list, follow this guy. You'll get on a list. But anyway, I'm going to turn things over to you. Tell me a little bit about about David, your situation, your cases. I hear a lot of people quoting your case and saying that David won that case. Like, I know somebody and blah, blah, blah. And I hear that, and your name and your situation comes into this. Tell us about that.
Well, I had been prosecuted. I was being indicted by a federal court, the same court that the Bundys were prosecuted in.
Unbelievable.
It was side by side, but I had been prosecuted in 2016. So I'd been at this fight for 2 years. I had hired an attorney for $14,000. Wasn't getting any of my evidence on the record. He wasn't allowed to use it. He wasn't allowed to use any witnesses. I knew there was something bad going on here. I knew it was corrupt. I knew I did not commit any crime. I knew that it was what it was for the purpose of the courts and for my ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
And now because I became friends with the Bundys.
Right.
So they came after me in 2016. I thought it was at the sentencing portion of my case. I had lost to a jury trial federally. Wow. They found me guilty. And I'm sitting here going, how does this happen? I didn't even get to speak my case. I didn't even have witnesses. So I had met David through the Bundys. Shauna Cox, Ryan, Laz, just a lot of people. So I started speaking to him, and he started teaching me a lot. I was at a point where my sentencing was in 30 days when I met him.
Okay.
I requested in writing more time, and I got it. David had me putting a lot of stuff on the record, like not motions, affidavits. Now, affidavits are all great, but they're not okay if you don't put them with a motion. It won't move a court won't even listen to half of them.
That's right.
I'm going to tell you, people, I understand the side of the sovereign citizen. I understand American state national. I understand all that. But there becomes a problem if you're not moving it with the courts. And then the courts are going to listen to a lot of BS. And they know they have power. They have sit in their courtroom. And I guarantee you, if they want to put you somewhere, they will.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not going to do what they want you to do, that's exactly what they're going to do, is put you in jail.
Mm-hmm.
So you can speak as you choose, but you better have, it's just like I say, getting pulled over from a cop, whether it's law or if you're going to be a sovereign citizen or a state national or a citizen, whatever you choose. There are what I don't know what to say. It's you have to know how to back that up.
Yeah.
With David Strait,
I don't think there's a way to back it up with him though. With David though,
I got to tell you, he gave me enough to get me in trouble. I got to my sentencing hearing, and I had learned all this stuff, and I walked up to this judge, federal court judge. I'm facing 20 years in prison, 4 felonies for a crime I didn't commit. I'm like, what just happened?
Wow.
So I think with what I'm learning from David is enough to get me out of this trouble. So I go up to my sentencing hearing. It's me, David, and my husband. I make David go with me. I'm like, dude, you're going to teach me this? You're sitting your butt right here in the courtroom.
Yeah, you're going to be accountable. Sure.
So he went. So he did sit there, and the judge at sentencing, I walked in with my little, don't cross the little border. Don't go past that little thing.
Sure.
I told the judge I wouldn't say anything unless it was put on the record. And he said, okay, I'll give you that, and I'll put it all on the record. Of course, that's mostly lies, but okay. So I went inside the little gate, sat down, and started. I didn't sit down. I spoke first, and I read about 15 minutes worth of crimes that I thought the judge had committed, and I know he committed against me, as well as the DA, because this is all stuff I was taught from David, and that
Sure.
I'm a person. I'm not blah blah blah. I'll send you the pages I read.
Okay.
So after I spoke all that, I could see the judge was really not. There was I could see there was no movement. He wasn't listening.
You weren't connecting with this guy at all. He didn't say, "Hey, you got me." Okay, that's it. Everybody put their guns away. We were just kidding. None of that happened, right?
I knew there was. I knew the money part of this. I was started like it registered to me that there was more about this. It wasn't just David's stuff, but I knew the money part had a lot to do with these courts. So I started doing my own work on that and research. And David had mentioned some of that, but he didn't understand a lot of it either. And, he just was determined that what he had to say by saying 3 times to the judge, I don't accept your contract. That's just going to get me out of it. Guess what, people? Nothing he said. Nothing I said to that judge, except for I want to see your 211 tax filings and I want to see your oath of office.
But that was from your studying. That was something that you dug up, right? That's not something he
That's
taught you.
the only thing, nothing David said would have worked. The judge told me when I asked the judge 3 times, I don't want your attorney. I'm not going to accept your acceptance. I'm not accepting your contract. 3 times. That's what
That's
David
what
said.
it takes. Yes.
And the judge kept saying no. And if you don't accept my offer to go over and see the court appointed attorney, you're going to go spend your first day in prison today. So I was very taken back, but I knew he wouldn't even done that if I wouldn't have brought up the 211. I know nothing David said was working. That judge was going to put me in prison.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
So after all that, I walked across the street and seen the court appointed attorney. And the attorney said, that judge didn't send you here. He does sentencing and you would be in prison today if that was the case. I don't think it was sentencing that you were at. I said, well, short end of the story, go call the judge and you'll find out.
Right.
So he did. Came back and he said, by God, you're right. He did send you over here. I said, okay. So this gentleman had my case for 3 months after this point. And he wasn't moving anything. And I finally sat down with him at his office and I said, first of all, Mark, that was his name, the attorney, I want you to tell me who pays you your payment for seeing my case. I already knew the answer. I wanted him to tell me. And the first thing he said to me, it's irrelevant. I said, it's very relevant. If you don't tell me where you get your paycheck, I'm going to show you. I'm just going to pull it up right here and show it to you. And he said, okay. I get paid by the same source that's prosecuting you. I said, I know that. And you know I know that. And he said, okay. And I said, you understand that's a conflict of interest. Money. I'm talking money here, Tim. It's all, this is.
Yeah, it's a consumer transaction. Sure.
So when I said that to him, I had him. And then I told him if he didn't go file a Brady violation and a NAPUA violation, I would do it myself. Well, he goes, I don't do criminal law. I'm just here for sentencing. I said, I'm going to tell you again. And my husband picked up a piece of paper that was evidence that I received no money. That's what they were coming after me for. He said, do you mean to tell me if we take this over to Judge Mossman, he's not going to have a problem? And the attorney says, well, let me see that. He says, can I please call you on Monday? This was Friday. I need to look at all this. He said, okay. So now I'm out of this whole mess of David Strait because I seriously would have went to prison that day.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And the mess of it all, staying up for hours on end, being taught from David, him lying to me, telling me, that he was a deputy and that he, now I hear that he was in the military. He wasn't in the military.
He says he's a merchant marine.
He's a liar. He also said
Agree.
yeah, he's claiming all these things and people. I know David very well.
Mhm.
He was married, and his wife he was married to in Bend, Oregon. He would never work. He wanted to go get paid to do all these classes. So she got tired of it, I'm sure. She was having fits with him. He would never work.
Wow.
So it's okay to do something if you're helping people, but to use lies to perpetrate that whole lie, he's getting people thrown in jails
Yeah.
with lies. What he's doing is not working, folks. I'm telling you firsthand. Me and David became very good friends out of all this.
Wow.
Then when I started doing videos with him after my first sentencing hearing, he was convinced that that's what won my case, is what he taught me. That's not what won my case. If it won my case, I wouldn't have went to 4 more sentencing hearings and been, dismissed, and they removed all of my cases and said that they were with prejudice. It was over. Four more sentencing hearings. And I had to do law. I didn't get to do it with any of this stuff that he taught me because it didn't work. So at the end of the day, he's doing videos with me and I'm trying to explain my whole story, how it happened. I went to 4 more sentencing hearings. David wasn't there. I didn't use any of his stuff.
Mm.
And he shuts my videos off halfway. He won't let anybody hear the rest of the story.
Then we're here today. We want to hear the rest of the story.
I went out to Utah with him to Cody's sentencing. He was being sentenced again, and it was already in prison. He was an ex-cop, and David was charging his mother oodles of money, and he didn't get him out. Cody's still in prison. This was 3 years ago. I tried Cody, but he was so caught up with the David Straight stuff. They were so mad at him in jail and so sick of it. They wouldn't even listen to it anymore. We'd go to these court hearings and they would take him out of court and put him back in jail and set another sentencing date or another hearing.
Abracadabra, huh? No abracadabra there, huh?
Nothing happened. And I've watched David Straight and David Jose say that their never-ending documents would get people's children out of custody of CPS.
Has any of that ever worked? And
I know not one.
Not one. How many have you seen?
None.
I mean, how many cases did you see where this abracadabra tried to work?
So many people came to me after David Straight gave them information and said they lost their case and that they lost their children. My brother was one of them.
How many people do you think that was? A handful? A couple handfuls?
We're talking thousands. I still get phone calls.
Wow.
People were calling me a liar and saying what I was doing was a lie. He cut me off halfway through my videos and wouldn't finish the conversation to tell the truth. Wow. Even at a class I went to in Utah, I flew all the way there to explain to people the truth. Not just what he did, but what really worked. And as soon as I got the halfway mark to explain that I had to go back and learn law and had to fight them with law, that nothing he taught me was really working. Law is what I had to use.
Yeah.
He took the stage and wouldn't let me finish.
Wow.
That's when I knew.
Yeah. He's not your friend anymore when he's doing that.
He was looking for a face, and he told me this. He was looking for a younger person to advertise what he was doing. To get people.
Still is.
And I've watched a video, and I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he went to jail. He got his children taken away. And there was an interview with this guy with a news station.
Wow.
I don't remember his name, but he used all of David Straight stuff. He paid David Straight, and he's in jail and lost his children.
Wow. Well, and granted, you are going to lose some cases. I mean, things happen. But when it's a no-win situation, this is what this looks like. Like he's 0-0.
This is lying to people and getting these classes made up so that he could get this money. I don't know his new wife. I just know that his history is.
What is the deal? What is the deal with some of these folks? They're selling now he's got people in Texas right now and they're selling their property. They're giving away their businesses and selling their property and moving up there to Livingston. Of course, there's no place to live up there. So what are your thoughts on that? What's he doing there?
I'll tell you what he's doing. He's convincing them he's going to take over that city. Because he told me a long time ago how to do it.
Wow.
That's what he's doing.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty ambitious. And I don't think those that sheriff's department up in Livingston is going to put up with that.
Doing that?
Yeah, he's up in Livingston, from what I know.
He told me a long time ago how to take over a township and to take back our properties. And
let's not put that nasty information out there. I don't want anybody to know about that. No. And even because one, it's probably not true.
It's not.
Two, yeah, I don't even want to get anybody excited about that, because somebody wants to get excited. And here's the thing: we can take over our townships by preserving our own. So, for example, if you have 25 cows out in the field, you can't tell them all to get in line because they're too busy eating grass here and there, and one's doing this over here and this one's doing this over here. And that's what a sovereign movement is. When people are sovereign, that means you got this one grazing over here, you got this one over here. And if somebody shows up with the great Magna Carta, there's nobody there to hear them. So our sovereignty is preserved within us, I believe, and in our relationship, not following people. And I think this is where people are really messing up.
I started to follow Jose with David Straight. They were doing calls together as well as myself. And at first I believed a little bit of it. And then I started thinking, no, they aren't even, you can't, what they're doing in court is, first of all, you use that with no knowledge of any part of the law or codes and statutes. Right. Listen, your day's over.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. David, it's a setup situation. He's failing people. He's absolutely failing people.
Setting him up to fail, it seems like.
It is the most, I'm telling you people, it is corrupt. It is a way to line his pockets. That's all he ever wanted to do, is charge people for these classes. And hey, it's all good if you've got history to back it up with, and you can prove it works. He's never used it. He doesn't have one time he's used it in court.
Wow. So, quick question. Does, because he talks about, you've been a student for a long time. He talks about the mailbox being our court system and this and that. Does he ever teach y'all how to use one of these firm mailing books?
No.
Yeah. And because this is your court. This is your court document. This is how we do business in the real side over here in equity, not what he's doing, right?
And again, I've understood what he's doing, but it's got nothing to do with moving a court. And all you're going to do is piss off someone and a judge and who has control. And if you don't understand the money part of the side of this, which is all it is, it's a business. At the end of the day, it's, and people need to understand that you want to take something like David Straight's doing, hey, it's all on you, but you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble, and you're going to end up in a lot more hurt than you went in with. And that's the truth. I ended up losing. All 4 felonies were dismissed. They came back after me, as we all know,
with misdemeanors.
A class A misdemeanor.
Of course. And that's not double jeopardy when they do it, though.
And now I'm sitting here with a misdemeanor, which I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's better than a felony. Guess what?
Still a charge.
It's not okay what they're doing. And I'm to the point now where I'm learning enough tax-wise. It's you can't, people, stop listening to David. Stop. He took
that sounds like great advice.
Took my case and he used it for a long time on all these classes and these videos, even calling me into a class in Utah. I mean, I was shocked. He says, let's take a lunch break. There was probably, 100 people there.
Wow.
Guess what kind of money he got? A lot. He was supposed to pay for me to get there and my stay. I begged and had to plead for a flight and had to pay for my own flight back home, because he didn't have a ticket for me to get home. I got stuck in an airport for 8 hours.
That's terrible.
And $250 is what he gave me to stay there for 4 days.
Well, I just don't, and I mean, I'm sure his haul was probably what, 10, 15, 20,000.
Well, I was trying to figure that I don't know if it was donations or if because I got there after everybody was in the class. I came in the middle. Weird. I guess he didn't want me chatting with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I got up there and started telling my story, as soon as I got to the first sentencing hearing where I had to go see another attorney, then he wanted to go to lunch. We'll come back and we'll resume this when we get back from lunch. I never got back on the stage.
Wow.
Same with his videos. So people, he has a lot to hide. David does not have the ability to get you free from any court. And
or anybody for that matter.
Everything you're going to learn and pay for to learn, you're just getting yourself in a hole. Stop running the rampant crap. It's not working. It does not work. I spent hours being taught by this man, up all night before my hearing. Didn't work. The judge wasn't nothing I was saying until I asked the judge for his 211, and his oath is the only thing that judge, and the judge said it. He said, I find that concerning when somebody wants to see my taxes and my oath.
Well, what you get for being a public official, Hot Rod. Welcome to the show. Sorry.
Your oath is a power.
Yeah, he works. Yeah.
I audit every judge.
Yeah, I got a stack of them right here. I got a stack of them from Houston County right here.
That's right.
A stack of oaths, and these I've got their oath of offices. I've got their sureties. I've got everything. It's all right here. And then we just need to get together on that. But in closing, because I got to cut this short. But in closing, what would you tell somebody their first day? What do they need to watch for? I mean, and that way. So don't take our word for it. What would be the triggers that you would watch for to say this guy has got? This is not what you want to do. What would you tell somebody? And in a short one.
That's a hard one because he teaches different areas.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, first thing you could ask him, show me evidence that you've won one case. Show me you have won one case.
Just one.
On any of it. Show me, David Straight, that you went in a court and won a case. Because I don't teach something if I haven't done it myself.
Same.
And
Same.
he does. If he has not won a case and cannot give you evidence, don't follow.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me.
It's factual. And my case went on for a very long time. Even after I went to my first sentencing hearing, I went 8 more months. Well, that was in September, so I went clear to February of 2018. So no David Straight was in the picture anymore. Weirdly, because guess what? It didn't work. I had to learn law and become a law student very quickly.
And I think he makes claims that says he's been doing this for 30 years, right?
Oh, he does.
I don't see any paperwork, nothing that backs that up.
Listen, he will teach you and say, I guess the other thing is anything he's teaching you, do your search, do your history. Don't take his word. I know it's easy if you don't understand and you don't do your own research, you're going to follow something that's going to follow you right in a hole. But you need to do your own research. Understand what he is saying could seriously put you in you're going to get yourself in trouble. You get pulled over by a cop. What are you going to say to a cop? Oh, I just got a private citizen license. Okay. I don't, come on.
He doesn't care.
It's like, well, did you teach him what to say? Did you teach him anything to back that up with? Did you teach him how to handle it? No.
And see, and I've actually done that. And I'm glad that we're talking about this because I've actually done that process. And we probably need to get to it on another call. But I've got to cut this short. But I want to, and I'm sorry, I just got to cut it short. I'm at the end of my rope here, and my feed is about to cut off because I only set us up for a certain amount of time. So I want to thank you for being on the call, Jamie. Let's do it again. Let's do it again, and let's talk again soon. I'm later today. I want to give you a call, and let's talk again soon. Thank you for taking your time with me this morning. It means the world. Thank you.
There's a lot more if you need me. Let me know.
You got it.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Be blessed. Bye-bye.